Right, so this is the story. This is the problem, and our plan to solve it and make Oneonta a better place, to make it a safe and lively city for ourselves and for our kids and for our grandkids. But for a few bright moments, Oneonta really hasn't been a vibrant city since the 1970s. There are a few reasons for that, but chief among them is something called urban renewal. We tore down like a third of this city. And when we did, the ripple effect of the demolition displaced over 2,000 people who lived or worked or spent time in the area. Given the state of the buildings, you could imagine that the tenants weren't rich. And that was the rent that they could afford, and that was the place that they could afford to live in. They were living in buildings that had seen better days, but they were the customers at our shops and restaurants. In fact, they were the staff at our shops and restaurants, and those were the people on the street. And when we tore down Broad Street, we didn't just bulldoze buildings. We destroyed a neighborhood and a bit of Oneonta's soul. Oneonta was something then. But what are we now? What are we now? Talk to anyone who grew up here and they will tell you Oneonta is not what it was. So what are we? And what are we missing? I've been saying for 3 years now, we need people. We need to attract new people, young families, and they need a place to live that they can afford. If you think it's hard to find housing, if you're a professional with a good salary, trust me, if you're making 15 or 20 bucks an hour, that doesn't get you much of anything in Oneonta. Let's see if you can even find a place. If you're working 40 hours and working hard to make a living, you shouldn't be spending more than a third of your salary on rent. You spend more than that and you won't be able to shop or play or save or have any kind of life. Back in the good old days, there was a place in our city where you would have been able to live on a reasonable rent. But the landlords weren't invested in their buildings. They operated on slim margins and the neighborhood became blighted. So the perfect world is one where the building owner is properly compensated, but not at the expense of the tenant. The tenant pays an appropriate portion of their salary. And the landlord is provided the difference by a state government that's invested in housing affordability. New York State wants to help us. And we are really lucky to have the support because there are so many programs and assistances in place. We have the potential to rebuild what was torn down 50 years ago, to create a neighborhood where hundreds live and work and play, where the sidewalks bustle and cool entertainments and attractions pull in residents and visitors, where a concert stage and a ballpark is around the corner and a pedestrian walkway makes Niwa Park our backyard. What a wonderful neighborhood this could be. And by making it affordable, we can keep more of our high school and college graduates here. We can have the staffing that our downtown shops and businesses need. And we can have people on the street and people in the neighborhood. That's how you make an area feel safe and discourage vagrancy. That's what we're trying to do. But you don't build a neighborhood without building. 27 Market Street is the first shovel-ready opportunity that we have had. But there are at least 2 nearby parcels that we can develop after we get this one done. Folks don't understand. The city has been trying to find a developer for quite a while. We have spent a lot of money and done a bunch of dog and pony shows. I've been involved in those for several reasons. But having to fight NIMBYism is really high among them. There is no one interested in building on Market Street. No developer that we have talked to. At least there's no one interested in going first. No one wants to go first. We know this. We have the receipts on this. This is not just me talking. So I reached out to Rehabilitation Support Services about their plans for their property in the 6th Ward. Now, many of you are well aware of the public resistance to their building on the property that they own there. Talking about that, I asked if they might be interested in building downtown instead. Thank God they are. I mean, they still are. I don't know why they still are, but they still are. So this is how we get our first building built. 35 apartments that allow people to live there without going broke. And because it's RSS, we get the benefit of mental health services for 14 units where our neighbors battling PTSD and depression, anxiety, and other mental health challenges are provided support and assistance by a 24/7 live-in specialist. Is there anyone watching this video who doesn't have a family member or a friend who battles with mental health issues? I mean, really? So all of this, plus parking for more cars than they need for the building, and a Market Street level attraction. It could be a bowling alley, it could be a gallery, could be arcade, could be bocce ball, could be, I don't know, my personal choice of makerspace for local creative talents. That'd be great. I would love that. This to be followed by more. And the creation of a neighborhood, a vibrant, lively, safe, and welcoming neighborhood. That's what we're hoping begins with the city's sale of the property. So the next time someone says, we want to build a homeless shelter, or a drug rehab clinic, or there's no one who would want to live there and we'll have to bus in poor people, just tell them to stop it. If they haven't watched this video, show it to them. We do better, folks, when we share facts. And we owe it to the city and to our generations that follow us to have made Oneonta a better, more vital place, a place where you can be proud to call this home. I'm proud to call it home. And until I see you guys again, stay safe, take care of one another, and please shop local. Thanks.